comfort, not people. And the broader context here matters. This wasn't happening in a vacuum. It was happening in a committee talking about bail, about punishment, about who gets treated as dangerous and who gets the benefit of the doubt. We've seen this pattern too many times. Aggressive enforcement, deadly outcomes, stonewalling about details, and then a political class that wants to change the subject as fast as possible.
Thank you, Chair Fisher, and also thank you to Chair Cruz and Chair Ranking Member Cantwell for calling the hearing on this critical issue. And thank you to each of our witnesses who are here today. Now, the issues that we're talking about today before this committee are critically important, but I cannot go further without acknowledging what's on the minds of people across the country. One of Alex Preeti's colleagues said that, quote, the default look on his face was a smile. Another said Alex wanted to be helpful, to help humanity, have a career that was a force of good in the world. So we all know Alex is dead. He was killed. Renee Gould's mother said that Renee was one of the kindest people I've ever known. She was extremely compassionate. She's taken care of people all her life. She was loving, forgiving, and affectionate. She was an amazing human being. Renee's also dead. She was killed. They're dead because of policy decisions made by President Trump, Secretary Noem, and White House Deputy Chief Stephen Miller. This administration decided to ignore the pleas of Minnesota's elected leadership and law enforcement by occupying and terrorizing Minnesota. And when federal agents killed these law-abiding Americans, the administration's response was to call Alex Preeti, the VA nurse who held veterans' hands as they died. The Trump administration called him, quote, a domestic terrorist and, quote, would-be assassin. What did they say about Renee Good, a poet, a mother of three? They called her a domestic terrorist. There were many lies by people who have no shame, who seem to take pleasure in terrorizing communities, wrecking families, and dividing the American people. Now, last night, Senator Tom Tillis said what all of us know, that what Secretary Noem has, quote, done in Minnesota should be disqualifying. It's just amateurish. It's terrible. Senator Tillis is right. And Senator Murkowski, who both said Kristi Noem should resign or she should be fired. I'll add one more name to that list, Stephen Miller. Both failed Alex and Renee. Both failed the American people. Now, I ask my Republican colleagues to join Senators Tillis and Murkowski by speaking up and defending the rule of law and defending our shared humanity. What's happening now is not okay. It's not normal. People can't pretend that. We have a chance to work together to do something here. I don't understand why this is hard. Now's the moment for accountability. We owe that to the families who are grieving their loved ones and Americans who feel like they don't recognize the country we're living in. Now, with that, Chair Fisher and Chair Cruz and Ranking Member Cantwell, I'll stop in this space and I ask unanimous consent to submit my prepared opening statement on the topic of today's hearing into the record.
What you just heard from Senator Ben Ray Luján isn't partisan theatrics. It's a moral indictment of an administration that has completely lost its way. 2 Americans are dead. Alex Prey, a VA ICU nurse who spent his life caring for veterans in their final moments. Renee Good, a mother, a poet, a woman known by her own family as compassionate and loving. They are not abstractions. They are not statistics. They are people whose lives mattered, whose families are now living with a hole that will never close. And what was the response from the Trump administration and the leadership of the Department of Homeland Security? Not humility, not accountability, not even basic human decency. Instead, they reached for propaganda. They labeled these Americans domestic terrorists. They tried to smear the victims rather than confront the reality of what happened. That alone should chill every person who cares about the rule of law. Because when the government's first instinct after killing citizens is to rewrite the story, you are no longer dealing with a system that is trying to correct itself. You are dealing with a system trying to protect itself. Luján is right to say this didn't happen in a vacuum. Policy decisions have consequences. When you unleash federal agents into communities with a posture of intimidation, when you normalize chaos and treat escalation as strategy, you create the conditions for tragedy. You don't get to wash your hands of that afterward. Leadership means responsibility, and right now, the people at the top are running from it. What makes this moment even more damning is that this isn't just Democrats saying it. Republican senators like Tom Tillis and Lisa Murkowski have already said what happened in Minnesota should be disqualifying, that it's amateurish and unacceptable. When members of the president's own party are saying the Secretary of Homeland Security should resign or be fired, that's not politics. That's an alarm bell. And yet, instead of owning the failure, we see the same pattern we've seen over and over again. Deflect, deny, and dehumanize. Call the victims something ugly. Pretend the videos aren't real. Hope the outrage cycle moves on. But here's the problem for them. Families are grieving, communities are watching, and the American people are not as numb as this administration seems to think. There is a deeper issue here that goes beyond any single shooting. It's about what kind of country we want to be. Do we want a system where federal power is used recklessly, where accountability only exists for the powerless, and where officials close ranks the moment something goes wrong? Or do we want a country where no badge, no title, no cabinet position puts you above scrutiny when lives are lost?